Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to kind of go through how I am setting up my goals for 2022 in my Makselife planner. Okay, so my original intent was to have all of my goals and my memory keeping in the flagship version of the Makselife planner. And to be quite honest, this is actually the second time that I have filmed this video. I'm one of those people, like, I know that for me, filming the entire process is a little bit distracting. So I started off in here, and as I was talking through what I wanted to do for my goal setting and what I needed to get out of it, I realized that maybe having it in this separate book wasn't going to necessarily work for me. So I kind of set this aside, spent a little bit more time diving into my goals in the 6-month version. And the reason for that is that I kind of do want to break things down into 6-month increments with my goal setting. That's not to say that there aren't annual goals in this planner. There will certainly be annual goals in there, but I specifically also want my goals to always remain with my plans. That helped me be fairly successful in the things that I was able to achieve last year, so I wanted to keep those the same for this year. So that meant taking the goals out of a journal type book and putting them back with my plans where I feel like they belong. So I am going to be obviously using the Makselife system. The planners come with all sorts of directions and guidance for you when setting your goals, and I'm not going to bore you by going through all of that again because I have already done a review of this planner. So I typically use all of the sort of key points and guides as a workbook, and I highlight things that, as I'm kind of going through it, I highlight things that kind of jump off the page for me and that have some sort of meaning to me with setting my goals. So like, for example, this sentence right here that says setting meaningful goals anchored to your values and purpose, adjust accordingly. That's one of the many things that I love about the Makselife goal setting system, is that they are constantly reminding you that it's okay to change things up. And I think that that's really important, to remain flexible with setting your goals. I did do the compass assessment a few weeks ago. I actually did it a couple of times just to make sure that this truly fit how I felt about where I'm currently at. So the Makselife goal setting system does come with a compass assessment, a scoring system. You kind of go through each of the 8 areas of life. Give yourself a score, 1 through 10, divide by 8, all that stuff. You get your final score. That score then goes over to your compass assessment. So again, I use this like a workbook. I took notes in each different area. For example, in areas that were particularly low, like I'm not spending enough time with people I enjoy. There's a global pandemic going on. It's made it a little bit difficult, right? And then in areas where there was like a 10, it had to do with work, with a huge career change and a promotion. So I wanted to highlight, how I got there with that particular score. This part, I'm free from toxic relationships. I did put a little note then there, actively working on that, especially with social media. My health and wellness score was by far the lowest, but I wasn't completely shocked by that. Again, I have been dealing with just some general health issues, and I acknowledge the fact that I just haven't been taking care of myself in the way that I should. And I think part of this process is acknowledging where are those areas that you need to work on, which is why I really love this system a lot. I even noted my sleep, only getting like 4 to 5 hours a night. That's just really not sustainable. So it's easy to see how I came to that score of a 4. In the spiritual growth section, again, not the highest score, but also not bad, but I wanted to make notes in places that, could use some improvement. So that's what I did. And then you go back to the, visual compass assessment where you can kind of see everything together. I borrowed this idea from Cindy, who borrowed it from Taylor over at Tattooed Teacher Plans. That's just how the planner community works, right? We all kind of get ideas from each other. So I used my pen to mark where I am currently at based on my compass assessment on the previous pages over here. And then I used my Zig clean color dot marker in the gray color to mark where I would like to be throughout 2022. How, I would like to get there at some point. And of course, the biggest gap was in the health and wellness, which is at a 4. I would love to get it to a 7. Everything else pretty much only went up by 1 point, with the exception of fun and recreation. That one did go up by 2 points. That's the goal anyway. We shall see. Kind of really depends on what's going on with the rest of the world, right? So that's where I'm at with my compass assessment. It's one of my favorite parts of this planning system. Now, because I do feel like the planning or the goal setting needs to be with the planning, I can honestly say that I may copy over some of these notes into my A5 planner, simply because I will be using this to plan out my daily pages, and the goal setting system is in here, and I just kind of want to have it with me. And I will share more of this in an upcoming video so you guys can see the full setup, but that's not what today's video is all about. So did the compass assessment, and I want to reiterate that this did take me a few weeks, not long periods of time. I gave myself like 15-20 minutes tops just to kind of work through each exercise and then put it away, right? So then we get to the intentions page. Here is where you're kind of asked some questions to help you reflect on the past year and hopefully pull out of these answers some words that could lead you to your word of the year. Now, I know that there's a lot of strong feelings about words of the year. You don't have to have one. You can kind of use it as just kind of like an anchor for your goal setting. But again, whether or not you pick a word of the year shouldn't determine whether or not you set goals for the year. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that believes that. So what could I use more of this year? Time off, planned vacations, self-care. You're going to see that I just kind of really want some time off. What could I use less of in my life this year? Fake friends and one-sided relationships. Can I get an amen? What characteristics would you like to nurture this year? Acceptance of myself, love, and patience, all again with myself. These are all things that I want to work on. Habits I want to develop this year: boundaries, self-love. That should also say self-love and self-care, just things that I haven't been doing that well, and rest. This year will be more mindful, or this year I will be more mindful of who and what I give my energy to. I'm one of those people that likes to stew in things that are bothering me, and I really just kind of want to face it, acknowledge it, and let it go. It's something that I'm actively working on often. I will do less taking on all the things. I am someone who is like, I know it'll get done right if I do it, and that is causing a lot of stress, which is not allowing me to rest. So there's that. I will give myself grace for imperfection and slowing down. The imperfection part is a really, really tough one, but again, I want to remember to give myself grace. I will let go of burnout and lack of self-care. There's a overall theme here, right? And then I will embrace peace, tranquility, success, and growth. And that's where I got to not one, but 2 words for the year. And I feel like they'll both kind of like pop in and out of my life throughout the year. I didn't want to just have like one word and be like, that's it for the whole year. And even these 2 might change as well. So my words of the year are rise and flow. I want to continue to rise and grow in my professional career, even in my side hustle of YouTube. And then with the flow part, I want to make sure that while rising to the things that I want to achieve professionally, that I also kind of make time for other things like relaxation, fun, spending time with others, all of those things, letting go of having such a tight grip on things being done in such a perfect way, kind of a go with the flow mentality, which is something I really struggle with, but we're going to try that out for 2022 and see how it goes. So then in the next section, you have another area that has some tips for you for committing to your goals, some questions that you can ask yourself, like, is this goal in alignment with the intentions I have set for the year? Will this goal get me closer to what reality I want in life? That's like a really great question. Does this goal feel good and motivating to me? Again, these are great questions to ask, especially if you're new to goal setting and you're just not sure what direction you want or need to take. I always highlight this part in here because, again, I love this part about Makselife. If you find yourself feeling like you have failed a goal or no longer resonates with you, give yourself permission to reassess and adjust or replace it with one that is motivating. Probably one of the most important parts of planning in this system. You've got some additional tips for writing out your goals, a breakdown of your 3 types of goals: stretch, progress, and maintenance goals. Again, these are all really helpful to have with you in your planner in a goal setting system so that you can reference them regularly in case you find yourself in a bit of a planning rut throughout the year. And then it just kind of breaks down annual, monthly, and weekly goals, as well as a guide for your weekly reflections if you choose to do that. I personally love weekly reflections because it helps me kind of get a snapshot of what didn't work and what did work last week, and things that I can carry over that will help me achieve my goals in the upcoming week. So again, recommend. Then you have an area where you can mind map your goals for 2022. Kind of laughed at myself because I wrote 2021. I was like, oh my God, what is happening? But it's fine. I did struggle with this page a little bit because it's just a big blank canvas, and I was like, I don't know what to do here other than I already kind of had a good idea of what my goals were for the year, simply because I had spent several weeks kind of writing down on sticky notes like different ideas for goals. And so this kind of was like what the sticky notes look like. I took those sticky notes and then put them in these areas. So for almost a good month or so, in each area here, it had a sticky note. So what I did here, like I said, I took that information and kind of reworked it to see which ones I really wanted to carry over for 2022. So this is what my annual goals will look like in each area. I haven't done one yet for the fun and recreation. I kind of wrote a statement of what the overall intent was for each of the goals, and I just kind of did it in the color that matched. In the work area, I have 2, one for my 9 to 5 and then one for my side hustle here on social media. So that's what I did for each area. So for annual goals, I have things like schedule massages throughout the year, continue therapy, regular time off from work and social media, make time for hobbies like planning and learning how to use my Cricut Joy. I'm obsessed with that thing, but I have a lot to learn. Fun and recreation, I have vacation, time with friends, beach, and boat time. When we were planning last year to move to Florida, we had canceled our boat club membership. I'm not sure if we're going to get back to doing that, simply because it would deviate from our financial goals, simply because if you've ever belonged to a boat club, you'll know it's quite an investment. So I'm not really sure if that's actually going to stay a goal for 2022. In my annual goals for work and learning, I have my work section over here, and I have getting my OSHA certification, starting on my SHRM certification, which is a human resources certification, not required, but kind of gives you a little bit of a leg up professionally, and learn more sign language. I know the alphabet and a few words here and there, but I would like to be able to form complete sentences and use it as a tool to help others. And then for my YouTube and social media business, I have new font, question mark. I have one kind of in the works. I'm really not sure if I'm going to be able to release it. We will see how it all goes, but I'm still working on it. And you guys know fonts take me a while because, again, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And then getting my own P.O. box, as well as tracking my income schedule and analytics. I want to do a better job of that. Last year, it was kind of like flying by the seat of my pants, and I know it's going to be a pain in the ass during tax time, and I'm going to pay a heavy price for not being a little bit more organized this past year. For family and relationships, I have visit mom and family, possibly in the summer. I put that just because, again, this all kind of is determined by outside factors that are outside of my control with everything that's going on in the world. Date nights, regular. I put that because I wanted to make sure that I was specific that I wanted that to be a regular thing, as well as overnight away trips. Again, things that depend on if it's safe to do those things. Professional family photos. I would love to get that done before our kids are no longer living with us, whenever that may be. And then again, I just left space in each area because there may be things that I want to add later on or adjust throughout the year. I didn't want to feel like every single space had to be completely filled from top to bottom in order to feel like I have set successful annual goals, because setting a lot of goals doesn't necessarily mean you're setting yourself up for success. And then I continued on with the same sort of theme into the last 4 categories. So my health and wellness, I broke it down a little bit more in some other goals, which again, I'll kind of probably work on each of these, like say January, February, March. So I have routines. I do want to set better wellness routines, and that means workout routines, sleep routines, and meals and meal planning. So I'm definitely not going to try to do this all at once, but I wanted to make note of it in my annual goals so that it kind of stuck there and I could reference it often. I have wellness visits like my mammogram, thyroid, vision, dental, all that fun stuff. And I also wrote down weight management. I really wanted to be careful about the language that I used here because I'm definitely not focused on weight loss, but more weight management, because I have so many other factors in my life that are tied to my weight, i.e. not having a thyroid. It's just the biggest factor, right? But there's other factors like working out, moving my body, things like that that affect the way I can manage my weight. I'm not setting a weight loss goal. I don't think that that's healthy for my specific mindset. If that's something that you want to do for your specific goals, go right ahead and do it. I know that setting specific numbers and wanting to lose a specific amount of weight is actually just, to me, it's extremely toxic, and I don't want to use the scale number as a measure of health success, if that makes sense. So for personal growth, and I'm kind of leaving off the spiritual part here because I'm really just, I don't have like a heavy religious background, so I'm just focusing on personal growth. I put in here Wild University, Club Moxie, participate more. Last year I was a part of Club Moxie, and I just kind of checked out about halfway through simply because I was dealing with other things. I did put read 10 books, and of course I added some additional notes such as using a reading log and participating in the Makselife book club. And if you're interested in finding that, you can find it through their Facebook group. They'll have a link to the book club specifically. And then meditate 3 to 5 times per week using the Peloton app. It is my favorite way to meditate. They have the best meditation exercises. Annual goals, I did put save $5,000 to $10,000. That goal literally slipped through our fingers last year as we had multiple things that happened that required our attention. So hopefully we can stick to that goal. Maximize our 401k contributions. That would be awesome to get that done. I did put purchase a vehicle on here simply because our current vehicle, the lease ends, and we don't want to stay with that vehicle, and we definitely don't want to do a lease again. It's just not our preferred way to have a vehicle. Anyway, and then focus on reducing impulsive spending habits. This one's more specific to just me because apparently I have a problem. All right, and so for physical environment, we have a lot of fairly large projects, and this could have a huge effect on this number up here, but we really want to get our backyard patio project done. Last year, we had an estimate for a different type of project in our backyard, and it was way out of our budget, so we didn't even move forward with trying another option. We found an idea that we have in mind for our backyard that hopefully we can get someone out in the next couple of weeks to start the quote process and kind of drawing out the sort of layout of what we want, and we're really excited about that. I would like to build and start doing a raised garden in our backyard. We have to move some other things around our yard, like our shed. So that's probably going to be added on here, is move the shed. It is in a space that is not good for drainage in our backyard. Anyway, it's a whole thing. And then the other thing is paint bedrooms. We've lived in our house for 7 years and have never painted the bedrooms, and it is time. It is starting to show. So that's where I'm at with that. Now, I have not done my vision board yet, and the reason being was I really didn't want to rush into it. I didn't want to use January 1st as the benchmark for having to have this specific thing done in order to say that I'm done with my goal setting. But what I did do that's kind of fun is I started working on it on the digital version of the Makselife, just to kind of get an idea about like how things would fit on the page and what I wanted to look like. I kind of used the digital version of the Makselife to help sort of do a rough draft of my goal setting, and that was really fun. I highly recommend it, especially if you're worried about messing up your pages, if you want them to look a specific way. It's really easy to work on some of these things on these pages and erase and redraw things. This is kind of how I was inspired to do like the little drawings and stuff on my annual goals, but this was really fun to do. And then I just kind of followed exactly what I did here on the digital version and moved it over to the paper version. So again, another reason why I did it this way in the digital Makselife was so that hopefully I can print this out. I think it's important for me to have my goals in multiple places as sort of little reminders. So I want to be able to print this out and post it up in my office, as well as have it on paper and have it in my digital, and probably even print out a more smaller A5 version for my A5 rings. That way it's just always with me in all of the different spaces that I plan in. So that's probably what I'll be doing with my vision board. And then at the end of the goal setting in the Makselife, you just have some additional tips, and then you start jumping into the calendar version of the planner. So super excited. I just realized I haven't even written my name in here. We should probably do that, right? All right, let's go. All right, it's official. All right, guys, that is it for my setup of my 2022 goals in my Makselife vertical undated for 6 months. I can't wait to see how these goals kind of work in the 6-month version of this planner, and it'll be a great way when I move into the next 6 months to see what is left to be carried over in the last 6 months of 2022. So that's also another reason why I'm excited to try out the 6-month version instead of putting everything in a 12-month version. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Make sure you leave a comment down below. If you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're already subscribed, make sure you click that red notification bell so that you know when my videos are posted here on YouTube. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.